Orcs have come down from the Grey Mountains. A single orc was finally able to unite the various tribes and form a WAAAGH, a huge host of greenskins. Warboss Spleenrippa is leading his army directly towards Altdorf, the capital of the Empire. Karl has mobilized his troops once again, preparing for the most important battle in his time as Emperor. He will block the orc army in the Field of Blood, a clearing in the Reichwald forest. Hey everybody, it's Overkill here with another Warhammer historical battle. So today, we're fighting the Battle of the Field of Blood. This is a battle between Karl Franz, of course, considering we're still going along with his story, versus Warboss Spleenrippa, I believe. And yeah, sadly, well, not sadly, this is my favorite battle out of the three that we've done so far. This is a very close and very intense battle. But sadly, it's the battle out of the three so far that has the least information. All we know is that we know the general of the orcs, which is Warboss Spleenrippa. He is doing WAAAGH Spleenrippa, I suppose. But we know it's at the Field of Blood, but there's no information on where the Field of Blood actually is. I'm going to pause this because the combat is about to start. But there is no information on where the Field of Blood actually is, so I just decided to make up my own little I decided to make up where the position of the battle myself. The map works for what I chose pretty good, making the Field of Blood a clearing in the Reichwald forest. You can see the Grey Mountains over there in the background, maybe the beginning of the mountain range. Sorry that GW decided to not make any information about this battle other than the fact that it was fought. But yeah, I hope I did a pretty decent job. Now, the Field of Blood, of course, is a pretty weird name for this area. I tried to make it kind of work with more of an Eastern thing, but well, this should work. And the battle turned out really nice. So let's go right ahead. You can see that Spleenrippa's army is heading straight for Karl and his force. Many more orcs than there are Imperials. Here is Warboss Spleenrippa himself. Sadly, orc generals are the same as captains in units. That kind of sucks. So he's the same as the guy right behind him, but whatever. We don't need to know that. So you can see that there's many trolls with Spleenrippa. There's 20 of them to be exact. 20 trolls. There's a bunch of black orcs. Lots of orc boys. And a lot of boar boys and archers. So let's get right into this. I believe the mortars were about to start opening up. You can see that Karl's army wasn't even fully deployed by the time the orcs were already charging. The one bit of information we have is that Karl was responsible for getting his men to actually hold against the brutal charge of WAAAGH Spleenrippa. So that actually got represented accidentally here, the fact that my men weren't fully prepared for an all-out charge, and as you can see, the orcs are amassing very close together. And they do deliver a devastating charge to my lines. You can see the mortar shells coming in, finding their targets pretty nicely, dropping a few of them, dropping a handful of men for every shell, basically. Handful of orcs, rather. And, of course, my handgunners are lining up their shots. You can see I have 4 units of them. Let's go through the army. I have 4 units of handgunners, 6 units of Empire halberdiers. I have 2 units of greatswords and 2 units of swordsmen. We then have 2 mortars, and then 4 units of Reichsguard knights, including Karl in one of the units. So yeah, you can see this entire, the starting of this battle doesn't look very good for us. Our chances of winning are not very high. But of course, it's a historical battle, so the real victor is victorious, of course. So the orcs are trading arrows with our handguns, it seems. They're definitely not winning that fight. They are taking out a few of my men, as you can see. But definitely not enough that they would be able to win that fight. But it's all basically a cover-up. The orcs are advancing now. These elite troops, the black orcs, are heading pretty strong on my right flank, where I don't have many elite troops. My center is more of my core. My greatswords are there, of course. Just in the event that they broke through my center. Which they do attempt. Don't you worry about that. But here it is, the charge of the orcs. Here come the black orcs Here come the swordsmen. They're charging each other. And it's basically a complete slaughter for my swordsmen. They get pretty thrashed. Black orcs are definitely not something you want to fight with. I actually start pushing my halberdiers, though, just so that the enemy don't get a direct charge. But you can see that doesn't matter for trolls. They run in here. They just start destroying my halberdiers. Very scary indeed. I charge in my greatswords to fight these trolls, and you'll see that the trolls are not to be messed with. I've decided to split Karl and his Reiksguard. Karl and one unit have gone on this side, and 2 more Reiksguard are on this side. One unit has already engaged some boar boys that came out of the woods, and you can see that I'm absolutely destroying them. Reiksguard Knights are superior to boar boys in every single way. A unit over here has charged in to some more boar boys, so hopefully we'll be able to destroy them. And Karl's personal unit is actually trying to get around here. No, actually, rather, this was Karl's unit that charged in. And he's doing some serious damage with his guys. Now this unit I make it pull around so that we can start hitting these orc boys and such from the side. Basically just to break their morale before they even get in the fight. You can see my mortars are targeting units that aren't quite engaged yet. Mainly the enemy general, these black orc destroyers. And we're scoring some good hits on them. It is taking down a few of them. As you can see, 25 to 29%. The battle starts off quite close. These boar boys are, of course, running away. These Reiksguard Knights are charging in. They actually get charged by the enemy infantry, which was a bit of a mistake, rather. But you can see I was successful in routing these orc boys, and yeah, these 2 units of orc boys, and even some orc boys over here. You can see their morale isn't that great, of course. But that's from the cavalry charges. As you can see, the orc boys on this side are doing absolutely fine. They're just destroying my guys. My swordsmen are down to 47 men. But yeah, it's at this moment I was kind of sweating. I was a little bit worried about what was going to happen in this battle. It didn't look like it was going to turn out really good. Here's Karl, of course, not really Karl, but for the purpose of this video, it is. You can see we broke more orc boys with a rear charge from our Reiksguard, but they are kind of getting screwed over by rear charges from orc boys and boar boys and such. But I remedied this by charging Karl right into the guys that were about to flank them, and they just get destroyed. That unit just gets flattened, basically. You can see dozens of them die on the charge. It's quite good. So you can see that we're trading flanks, basically. I'm breaking their right while they're breaking mine, which isn't good. You can see they've enveloped this side. All my units that were on this side have broken and pretty much just got slaughtered. But you can see my my Reiksguard Knights have now beaten these boar boys to the point where they're not going to come back and bother us anymore. So now I can actually focus on the enemy general's unit and start grinding that unit down. So you can see I deliver a charge to them. Initially, of course, our charge beats theirs because we're heavy cavalry. They're just heavy infantry. But of course, in a prolonged melee, especially against black orcs or black orc destroyers, to make it even worse, we will start losing cavalry quite quickly. So I decided to run out of there as fast as I can. And yeah, you can see this unit over here. This Reiksguard Knight unit is fighting some orcs. But they're broken very quickly. So I actually start using these 2 units to fight that the black orc destroyers. And you can see that the orcs have gotten to my handgunners. Oh no. Not good. My mortars are there in the open. Basically, I'm dropping shells basically as close as I can. Actually, I believe I'm still shooting at the enemy general, to be fair. But you can see there's no battle in the center really anymore other than these orc boys. It's all here and here between my cavalry and my remaining few infantry units that are here. But you can see that we're slowly but surely clearing the orcs from this flank. There's a unit of biggins here, as you can see, that we're doing quite a bit of damage to with our cav. But you can see I start charging Karl's unit into these archers. And then, of course, it's archers. They're just going to absolutely destroy them. They break pretty quickly as well. But now you can see this is where I start doing 2-sided charges on the black orc destroyers, and they're also being fired at by my mortars. I should have told them to cease fire, but you can see it's still doing some damage. It's hitting a few of them. But we do a bit of a pincer charge here. Both units are charging in, and both of them deliver quite devastating charges to the enemy unit. And you can see this is where Warboss Spleenrippa is actually slain. A lance is driven straight through the back of his, well, the back of his torso, I guess. And you can see that starts panicking the remaining orcs. And of course, me rear charging them doesn't help either. but we've still lost 62% of our men. It's definitely a small victory slaying Spleenrippa, but you can see that my the Black Orcs are still just ripping through my handgunners. And this unit of greatswords has just been absolutely destroyed, which is quite sad, as greatswords are very hard to replace, as they are elite soldiers as opposed to the cheap state troops. But you can see that it's basically just these units left, plus the trolls, that are giving us any trouble. I just destroyed these orc boys. The Black Orc destroyers, of course, are very pissed off that we killed Spleenrippa, so they're not running away just yet. They want to kill a few more of our knights, and you can see that they've been successful in that. So I actually have to get my guys out of there because they're not too happy about dying, of course. But I just end up running away from them, and I start charging into these orc error boys. But yeah, there's only a few more Black Orcs left. I start charging in these Empire swordsmen as a distraction, so I can get some good charges in with my Reichsguard. And you can see that all that's left now is the trolls basically here, the trolls here, and these Black Orcs. But the Black Orcs have actually just routed, and I don't believe they come back. So now it's down to killing the trolls and these destroyers basically. And you can see I get my cavalry to kind of catch up with these Black Orcs just to cut them down, so they definitely don't come back, which is excellent, fine and dandy. And of course I get my Reichsguard to charge into the destroyers just so that they're finally gone, and you can see they break under the stress of being charged by heavy cavalry. So yeah, now that all we have left are these damned trolls fighting us, and they are certainly doing a heavy number on our men, which is not good. You can see even with just the trolls, the balance of power is still in their favor. But rear charges from Reichsguard, heavy cavalry, is going to change that very quickly. We start lining up our charges on the trolls. You can see this unit charges into the back of them. A few of them turn around actually to take the charge, but you can see that it actually sends one of them flying, which was quite hilarious. The force of the Reichsguard horses is just too much apparently for him. He was sent flying, but you can see he was the only one to die from that charge. But we also charged in over here, but a few of them were in the middle of a charge, so they actually managed to run away. They were actually charging through this unit as we charged them, so it didn't really do that much. But you can see I start charging in again, and that does more damage basically. We're not really killing them on the charge, but we're doing plenty of damage so that our foot troops can actually start cutting them down. So yeah, you can see there's a bunch of Reichsguard knights over here. That's actually Karl's unit. I think he was just chasing down some remaining orcs. Yeah, you can see that they were killing some here. But now he's going to deliver a very long-range charge into these trolls. And that will basically be it for them. So we'll watch as Karl delivers basically the final blow to the trolls. We shall follow his unit as they go. And here they come, right into the back of them. And you can see that oh, rather not. I was going to say that it was actually enough to kill one of them, but apparently not. That's fine, though. You can see that the ones over here are starting to drop a little bit, I think. Pretty sure some of them have died since we looked. And now you see that these trolls are fighting to the death, so they're in pretty bad shape. But you can see now that here it is. Here's the charge that I was talking about. They charge in. They actually kill one of the trolls here. Just all the lances going straight into its back. It was just too much for him to handle. And yeah, the trolls over here have all been slain. You can see the final 3 that were there were all killed. So basically now it's just a mob up on these guys. Now, they were fighting to the death, but we couldn't let these trolls survive. Every one of these trolls had to be killed to keep the Empire safe. So, there we go. It was a heroic victory. We did lose over half of the force, which was quite sad. Many Imperials lost their lives today, but it was for the betterment of the Empire, and we saved Altdorf from a potential sacking from the Spleenrippa. So, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, and tell me what historical battles from Warhammer you would like to see next. Of course, if I don't get any recommendations, I'll continue on with with Karl Franz's battles, because coming up next for Karl Franz is a battle against the Chaos Warriors in the East. So be tuned for that, guys. But anyway, thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.